I'm Christina Pulver with 4-1 Volleyball, and I'm sitting with head coach Alija Pittenger from Loyola University in Maryland. How are you today?
I'm good, hanging in there. I definitely miss seeing the team and being in the gym with them, and they're actually starting exams tomorrow, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I know they've got a lot happening, and I don't, so.
Yeah, I know, right? They're done in a few weeks then with the semester?
Yep, yeah, so they've got like a week and a half of finals, and then they're all finished up for the semester.
Nice. Yeah, well, I'm sure I've been hearing pros and cons about the way we're getting to know our team in a more unique way with these Zoom calls and just kind of the creative side. Have you come up with any fun games, or are you more just kind of catching up? Or
We've done a little bit of both. We forced them a little bit to talk to each other. I made them last week. They had to do a challenge and a win for the week. So,
okay,
I think the challenges were easier to come up with the wins for a few of them. But
yeah.
we're also actually doing a few where they're just catching up and stuff. Last week they had a baking challenge and they had to make TikToks. So it was, not necessarily the best tasting dessert, but, the best presentation and best TikTok for the dessert. So that was cool.
There you go.
Yeah. And we're going to start using it too for having them watch some video and look at like some error situations and figure out ways to like cut down on those unforced errors for next fall so that, we can try and keep a little bit of volleyball in there and get ready for the fall as much as possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thanks for sitting down with me today. I thought it'd be just a great opportunity for them to get to know you and your coaching philosophy, and then more about your institution. So let's start with you. Give us a snippet of your journey, your volleyball journey, and how you ended up at Loyola.
Oh, man. Well, it's kind of funny. I don't know if this is a good story or embarrassing story, but my parents met playing volleyball.
Oh.
So I was kind of doomed from the beginning since they were tossing balls at me when I was like 2 and 3 years old. But it's always kind of been part of my life. My sister actually played as well, and my dad was a coach while I was younger. So I was like that gym rat that was always hanging out in the corner, like playing on the equipment and stuff and under the bleachers.
Yep.
So then once I finally got old enough, I started playing volleyball. I was a multi-sport athlete actually in high school. So I played volleyball and basketball, softball, earlier in life I played soccer and all that kind of stuff. So, I always loved like the competing aspect of it, being part of a team and things like that. I actually tore my ACL my junior year of high school playing basketball. So, that kind of cut into recruiting a little bit. So I got lucky. I had gone up to Michigan volleyball camps because that's where I lived before, and my parents wanted to dump me off somewhere when they could go visit their friends. So they actually came and saw me play my senior year. I ended up going to Michigan and playing there for 4 years. And then, I'd always been in the gym, so I couldn't really imagine doing anything else. After I was done, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do for a career. And I ended up working at a volleyball camp actually up in Michigan. And one of the people there needed an assistant, and he was at University of Southern Indiana. So I went and I worked with them for a semester. It was really short, but that team was awesome. That's like one of the best teams that I've ever coached. They were just like so dedicated to being as good as they could to each other. Like it was so much fun to work with them. I remember in the middle of the season, they felt like they weren't sweating enough in practice. So they decided they were going to sprint after every single ball that they had to go and check.
Wow.
Obviously I had a great experience that first season that I was coaching, and just kind of went from there. I couldn't really even think of anything else that I would be doing. So I went to Pitt for 5 seasons as an assistant after that. And then I was at Fairfield University in Connecticut as the head coach. That was my first head coaching position. And then now I'm down here. So at Loyola.
I love it. And it's a beautiful campus.
Yeah, the campus is amazing. The school is great, honestly. I can start launching into that if you want.
No, jump into it. That's what I would paint as a picture of kind of the culture, first of all, as a university at Loyola, Maryland.
We're a smaller university. We're about 4,000 undergraduate students. So their focus is definitely on that like personal connection and personal touch. Our classes are a little bit smaller, so your professors all know who you are. They know you by name. We get updates on the students through the semester. So they know who, it's not like they're the girl that's over there in the volleyball gear. It's like Katie is over there and she's prepared for class and contributes and stuff. So it's awesome because they have that interaction,
Mhm.
and the professors really want that relationship. We're not like a huge research institution, so they're there to teach. Like they want those relationships. They want to get to know the kids and stuff like that. So they're really invested in their success. So because of the size that we are, I think it does lead to like more of a sense of community and
Mhm.
just investment in obviously athletics and everything else that comes along with college and stuff like that, which is amazing. Um, I'm trying to think what else just as far as the school goes.
Academically, what are you most known for?
Um, Honestly, like our business school is really solid, but we offer a lot of different majors, and our girls, they major in everything. We have a few engineering majors. There's people in business. We have some education majors, some biology majors. So they're kind of like run the gamut kind of thing. So you can do whatever you want, which is really nice. The one cool thing about it is though that the school really does focus on educating people as a whole person. So they want you to be able to leave the university, and even if you're a biology major, have a conversation about philosophy or
Yeah.
all those other subjects and things like that. And just the way they approach education in general, I think is unique and great for this environment, especially
Mhm.
because they see it as preparing the students for jobs that don't necessarily exist yet. So, I mean, 10 years ago, if you would have said, I'm going to go work for Instagram, people would have been like, what are you talking about? But
Yeah.
like, that's the way we're going. And especially in this COVID environment where everything's changing, like, there's going to be jobs that we never even knew were jobs. And that's the kind of positions that Loyola wants to prepare their students for. So I think it's cool that they're looking at it in such a holistic view and getting them ready and prepared for, whatever comes at them in the future.
Sure. And when I mentioned to a few players that I was having this talk with you today, we're used to hearing Loyola Marymount, and you're Loyola Maryland. Are they affiliated, and if so, how?
They're not technically affiliated. It's just that we're all Jesuit. So that's where that development of the whole person kind of comes from. So we have that similar philosophy where we want to focus on people as people and not necessarily as biology majors or business majors.
And I see you're a Catholic university. How does that affect the roster or a student there? I'm assuming it's fairly non-denominational, and I also read a little bit that it's fairly liberal. But maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Jesuits have actually always been focused on education in general. So they've been definitely more on the liberal side of the religion. And like I said, I think the way that it mostly impacts things is just their view on education and being forward thinking as far as preparing people, like I said, for those jobs that we don't know about yet, and looking at people as whole people instead of
Yeah.
just one aspect of their personality. So religion wise, I mean, this is my second Jesuit university. I have been to church during Christmas and probably Easter because my grandma made me go, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
So, and I've never felt out of place. And I know we've had a lot of different religions on our team and things like that, and nobody has ever felt left out, excluded, any of that kind of stuff. I think, again, as part of the focus on the education, understanding other religions and other points of view is important to the Jesuits. So that's actually a positive for them when they have different viewpoints and that diversity.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you guys are part of the Patriot League, some awesome, great conference. So let's talk about, your school's definitely a high academic. How does it work on the road with travel? Are you guys in the car most? Are you driving most? It's definitely a question that a lot of recruits want to know.
Yeah, no, our travel is kind of great. I oversell it a little bit, but I mean, most of the schools that we go to, so we have Navy and American right down the road. They're only about 45 minutes away. Bucknell, Lafayette, Lehigh are about 3 hours. Army's 4 hours. And then, Colgate and Holy Cross are a little bit longer, but most of those we do in buses. Only a few of them are overnights, which is nice because you get that experience where you get to hang out with your teammates and, hopefully do a little bit of homework, but, also goof off a little bit and have all those good stories later on.
Yeah.
But we play mostly Friday and Saturday. So
Okay.
we'll, go up on Friday and play a match, stay overnight and play on Saturday and then come home. And it's kind of nice because you still have a day off. So you actually can recover a little bit, sleep in, not have to worry about going to class or any of that kind of stuff. And again, hopefully do a little bit of homework. But yeah, I mean, they're great teams that we get to compete against. We play tough athletes, tough teams, and then we can still have that balance too of not necessarily being on the road forever.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
that's awesome. That's one of the biggest variances I'm learning with all these calls too. I mean, you hear about it, you see it, but then when you actually talk about it with the coaches, being able to get into the bus and fall asleep versus having to go to the airport and all the security nowadays, and sometimes it's late, sometimes the planes get canceled. So no, I think that's a huge benefit for playing in your conference.
yeah. I mean, I've done a lot of different travel. This honestly is pretty easy and it's great.
Good. No, that's awesome. So let's
Yeah.
get back in the gym. What do you like as a coach? Why do the kids like to play for you so much?
I think like one of my strengths as a coach is definitely like on the technical side of things. So I can teach players how to do things and how to execute in different situations. So I think they see themselves get better through the years and as they learn more. So that makes them more confident and then they have more fun. They can do different things out on the court. So that's always a good time. And I guess I see it as my role is to help everybody maximize their potential. Like if they feel like there's more that they left on the court when they're done, then I haven't done my job. So I definitely push them to try and be as good as they can be, make sure they're reaching their potential. But I also, it's important, like the relationship side of things is important. Like I do see them as people and I understand that they've got a lot of stuff going on and I want to know them as like the goofball off the court too and like all that other kind of stuff. So I think I do a decent job of like pushing them to be as good as they can for the 2 hours that we're in the gym for practice, and then also still like respecting them as people and knowing what they bring and appreciating what they bring to the team and
Yeah.
everywhere else.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And then let's talk your facilities. Do you guys have your own gym? Talk about the athletic department as a whole and how you intermingle.
Okay. Yeah, our facilities, honestly, I think our gym is one of the better ones in the Patriot League. You can play that for all of them just to make them a little angry. We do. We've got these great video boards, so they do instant replays. We've got an awesome intro, all of that kind of stuff. So the video boards are great. I think the environment's great too because it's a great size of the gym where you don't have to have a million people in there to kind of fill it up and make it a good environment. So, and we get a decent crowd and it gets loud and rowdy in there. So it's a lot of fun. We do share with basketball. But the cool thing about that is it has been really collaborative working as far as like practice times and things like that go. They understand like we're kind of all in this together, right? As far as like an athletic department, like one team is successful, that looks great for all of us. The better that our team performs in the classroom, the better it looks for all the other teams as well. So it definitely is an environment where we kind of work together and trying to find the best solution for everybody. So it's not like we're stuck practicing at 6 a.m. because basketball wants the gym all day or anything like that.
Yeah.
We do look at basically the way that we schedule practice times is our athletic academic advisor puts together a schedule with everybody's classes on there and they're like, okay, we can practice from this time to this time. We can practice from this time to this time and we'll figure it out from there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And then in terms of like the strength training, injury prevention, what's your philosophy on weightlifting and how often are they in there?
Yeah, in the fall, it is mostly injury prevention. We just don't want them to lose any strength that they already have. So they're usually in the weight room about twice a week. Our athletic trainer also puts together what she calls a prehab routine. So that's a lot of like shoulder stuff, knee things, just to try and prevent those injuries, the overuse injuries and stuff like that. During the spring, we go a lot heavier and a lot harder because that's kind of the time that we have to get stronger and faster.
Yeah.
So during the spring, they're in with our strength coach actually every day, either lifting or conditioning. Friday is usually like a competition day or something like that, a little bit more fun. But that's for an hour. They're with him every day, and that's usually when we see a lot of our games and stuff. So again, we just kind of want to stay healthy in the fall and then get a lot stronger and ready to go in the spring.
In the spring, exactly. And then when they're not playing volleyball, what do they do? Like, what's there to do off campus?
Well, I mean, honestly, they do a lot of things on campus too.
Okay.
So, I mean, we do encourage them to get involved with as many clubs and stuff in general. I mean, I always joke around. I kind of use myself as an example in this where like I joke and say that I majored in volleyball. And that was my focus and I was happy with that and I was totally cool with it. And I didn't really do a ton of stuff outside of the gym, but one of the things I wish I had done is gotten more involved on campus. And so I definitely encourage them to be involved with different clubs, different organizations. There's a fashion show on campus that some of the girls have been part of. they're just so involved in the things on their resume and all the things that they do. They do an amazing job just juggling it all. Some of them are like student tutors, all of that kind of stuff. And then, I mean, just as far as like in the area, I know Baltimore doesn't have like the greatest reputation, but it's a fantastic city. It really is. There's just
I was there last summer. I loved it. There was some great food places, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, it really is a great place. I'm not just making this up. It's a city though. So, right. So there's good parts and bad parts. We just hang out in the good parts. But there's a lot of great restaurants. We get like concerts and plays. The girls will go down to like Royal Farms Arena, and then there's like an outdoor concert area that they've gone to a bunch of times. Obviously like the restaurants and things like that. There's tons of stuff to do down there, and it's great. And we're also only like 45 minutes from Washington, D.C. if you want to go down there. There's been girls on the team that have internships and stuff there too. So, that's always accessible, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no. And what about, can you take a train there?
Yep. There's a train stop that's only a couple minutes away from campus.
Yeah, I mean, DC is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right. I mean, as long as you are okay living near a city, it's like any city. I mean, there's going to have the good parts, the bad parts. But what's really cool about the East Coast, what I've learned recently is, you can be in how many states within a 2-hour drive, right? I mean, it's really, Californians, I don't know if you know, I'm born and raised
forever and still be in California.
Yeah.
We actually, one of the girls on our team, we were always making fun of her because we would go, I think we actually went and played in Connecticut one preseason.
Okay.
And we were like, Anne, what state are we in? Because she had no idea where like all Jersey and New York and Connecticut and like all the states were. And so we always joked around too with her just because she was like, I don't know.
Yeah, right, exactly. Do you, in your preseason or, well, I should say like in their winter time, are the girls ever allowed to study abroad?
Yeah, we haven't had anybody do it for the spring semester, but we've had people who have done study abroad during the break, actually between semesters. And then they've also done some mission trips and things like that during that time as well. There's also some trips you can do during spring break. Cool. There's actually a business class that has a trip that's part of spring break where you go over and like see all these different businesses and all this other kind of stuff. But most of the time when the girls do it, they'll do it for the first summer session. So that's right after, it's like May, basically. Yeah. So they'll go over and, do those then. It's kind of perfect timing because you can still participate in spring and, like I said, get stronger, faster, work on those individual skills and stuff that we get to work on during the spring and not as much in the fall. And then still do the study abroad and have a little time to get back in shape after, all your gelato and all that other stuff that you're having while you're studying abroad. So that's been the one that's been the most successful for our team.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you've done a lot of talking about that Jesuit philosophy of the whole person in education. In terms of prepping the kids for after they're done with their college volleyball career for the real world, I'm assuming you have some sort of a career placement center, but how is your school with helping kids for future careers?
Yeah, I think like because from the beginning we really do, like I said, they can major in anything that they want to. We assume that they're gonna use their degree when they're done and need to be able to like pay the bills and stuff like that. So we really do want them to find something that they're passionate about and something that they're interested in. And then by encouraging them too, I think to be involved in those clubs on campus and all those different activities and, be more than just a volleyball player. Like we want them to contribute to the community in different ways. So I think because there is such an emphasis on developing all these different parts of yourself as a person, that once volleyball is over, yes, you're going to miss it because it was such a huge part of your identity for so long, but it's not the only part of you. So it's nice that they have these other things that they can, spend more time on. Like I know our seniors are really excited because she got to paint. Like she took 2 art classes and she was just so excited because she was like, I get to paint, I get to do these things and that. So, you still miss volleyball, but because you have developed these other interests and these other things that are important to you and you know what they are, you have something else to move on to as well. So right. I think that really prepares them to go into the real world, where you got to have a job and pay bills, but, have a little time to do other stuff that you enjoy as well.
What is the minimum, like the GPA, SAT, what do you look at when you're looking at a potential player?
Yeah, we don't have like hard and fast, like it has to be this kind of thing. So what the Patriot League does is an academic index. It's a sliding scale. So the better your GPA is, the lower your SAT can be. Yeah. So And even Loyola in general, actually, they are also test optional. So if you feel like you may not be a good test taker or something like that, or basically your test score just doesn't reflect the work that you've done in high school and how well you've performed there, then you can apply test optional and just submit your grades in an essay, which is kind of nice, because I think the time that you put into all those years of high school in those classes is much more meaningful than the few hours that you sat down and took an SAT test or ACT test.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's cool. That's unique. And then are you guys fully funded?
We have 10 scholarships from the athletic department, 12 being fully funded, but what we can do is use academic aid to kind of make up those other scholarships. So we do have 12 people on scholarship.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I know that's something I'm getting to know a little bit more about. Not everyone understands what fully funded versus non-fully funded. So
yeah, I'm just glad we're not in equivalency, because I can't do that math.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we won't even get into that.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you think is important for kids to know about Loyola Marymount, or why you think they would choose Loyola Marymount versus another, or Maryland, compared to another school?
I do think it is like the personal touches. Like you're gonna feel like people know you as a person, and that you're not just a number. I think it's really hard to fall through the cracks. We always joke around because there's so many people looking after you. Like it's harder to like fail a class than to just show up and do what you have to. So there's just a lot of people that care about you and your success that are around. You know, and I think about my own experience. I went to Michigan, which obviously like was a huge school and all these other kind of things. But being at Loyola, I can see the benefit of those, that more intimate connection with people around you and things like that. So I think if that's what you're looking for, and you just want that experience where you feel like you're valued, I think it's a great place to be. So there's a lot of different benefits to it.
Yeah, and speaking specifically from, Californians considering moving out of state. And one thing that's cool is I'm finding a lot more adventurous Californians really excited about the idea of living out of state and getting in a new environment. I think knowing that your school provides that environment where it's very close knit and like that family feel is really important, because, they leave their little Temecula or wherever they're from, town, playing this tight-knit club, and we really do, I think, a good job of creating that family environment, to off to college, and knowing that they're going to be taken care of and they're going to be known personally. I think that's huge, and it might not be something they'd always consider when they're looking at different institutions, but that's a really big deal what you're saying. That really differentiates you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like trying to figure out your priorities and things that are important to you are really hard when you don't even necessarily know what you're looking at. Yeah. You think about college and, you have in your mind what it's going to be like, but you never know. So it's, I think, again, why these videos are great, just because you can get a different feel for what you're getting into.
Personality. So really yeah, no, this is great. This is great to better understand your institution, and you as a coach and personality. You seem super easygoing.
Yeah, I usually try and get my assistant coach to be the intense one, so that
gotcha. Awesome. Well, there you go. Balance the staff out. So,
exactly.
Well, you take care, and I look forward to seeing you again. You and I met when you were back at Fairfield. It's been a long time, but
yeah. I know, it's great. Small world.
Right. All right. Well, you take care.
Stay safe.
Nice to see you too.